This time we're going to work with duplicating an object. So now we're back to our original startup file. And we can pan around, we can see that once again we have the camera, we have the lamp. If your left mouse button isn't working for some reason, please go ahead and go back to File, go to User Preferences, go to Input, make sure your left mouse button is selected. If you need to know how to do that, watch one of the earlier videos at the beginning. It will explain how to do that. I'm going to get rid of my lamp right now, just kind of clear it out and get rid of it. So I'm going to click the X button, delete. I'm going to left click on the camera, X button, delete. Now here's my cube. I actually want to have several cubes out here, so I'm going to go ahead and look at it straight on from the side. So pan around until you get to it from the side, and I'm going to select by left clicking. I'm going to Shift D. When I press Shift D, it turns white, and then I'm going to move it to the side. I've got 1, 2, now I'm going to make a third one, and I'm going to go ahead and Shift D, make a fourth one, Shift D, make a fifth one, and then Shift D, and I'm going to make a sixth one. So now I have some of these cubes right in front of me. Well, if I take them, I say, you know what, I want them in a row. I want them to make it look like it's just like some sort of a fence or something. I'm going to have to come back in here, and I'm going to have to align them just exactly right. I'm going to have to move them around, and then I'm going to get them there, and I'm going to have to, I could even press the letter G and move it over real quick, move it down, and try to visually line these up, which can be kind of hard because, again, I'm looking at a 3D environment flat on a monitor. Now these might actually turn out to be pretty decent. They might look pretty close, but I'm going to now, at this point, I'm going to pan in just a moment. So you get yours set up like this, and you press the pause button, and then we're going to pan. So get yours ready, pause this tutorial while you do that, and then play the tutorial after you've gotten this lined up. Okay, I'm going to pan it to the side and see if I'm lined up, and amazingly enough, this one lined up pretty well. But it's not quite perfect. I've got this one off a little bit, and you notice that I had to actually click on each one and move it around. You might have noticed that yours wasn't quite so perfect. You might have noticed that you had to move yours around, and there's a lot of real fine details you can put into doing something like this on the computer program just by very carefully moving them, and you can make some really neat stuff this way. But all we did was duplicate and turn this one cube into 6 cubes. Well, I don't really want to take that kind of time to do that. Let's show you a faster way. We're going to put the power of multiplication and the power of arrays to work for us. So I'm going to go ahead and press a new button. I'm going to press the B button, and once I do that, I now have this little dashed line box. I click the left mouse button, and I can turn this into a selection box, and I can select all of those objects at once. I'm going to press the X button, and I'm going to delete them all. Oh, now I don't have anything to use. Well, we can fix that, can't we? Press Shift A and add a new mesh. Add the cube. Now that the cube has been added, we're going to go up to this right side. We now have these little small icons, and there's all sorts of things we get to get into. Anywhere from a physics button to a particle stream button to a colored button and all sorts of stuff. But right now we're going to go for a modifier. And that's this little wrench tool. So I'm going to click on the wrench tool, and it says Add Modifier. So I'm going to click the drop-down arrow, and all of these things pop up. There's all sorts of cool things we can get into in here, but this time we're going to get to the array. So I'm going to click on Array, and you'll notice something happened on my screen. The moment I clicked on Array, it looks like my cube turned into a rectangular prism. Well, it didn't really, because I can come over here and I can click on this. We see that it's actually duplicated a cube. Well, I don't want just one cube. So now I'm at 2 cubes. I want 6. So I'm going to add this up to 6 cubes. And once I have that done, I need to add a little bit of space. So let's add just a tiny bit of space. So I'm going to click and select in there. I'm going to leave it at 1, but I'm going to erase that decimal 0 and turn it into a decimal 25. When I'm done with that, I'm going to press the Enter key, and I put space between each and every one of those cubes. Well, those are just a little bit too far for me. I want to make them a little bit closer. So again, I'm going to click in there, and I'm going to leave the 25, but I'm going to put a point 0.025. That should make them a little closer. Press the Enter key, and now you'll notice that they are very close, but they have a tiny little bit of space between them. You can pan it around and see that. But you'll also notice that I didn't have to move each cube at one time. I didn't have to put them and make sure that they were lined up correctly. I just had to go ahead and tell this to be an array, and it would go ahead and multiply these cubes for me. Now we can actually add several arrays at once to make a large number of cubes, but what I'm going to do with this modifier at this time is just press Apply. So now I have a whole bunch of cubes. They've been applied, and I can't change that anymore. I have them all selected as one object. We'll show you how to turn that into separate objects in a different video. So at this time, what I want you to do is get back in there. I want you to make 6 cubes in a row using your array modifier. Make sure you apply it and then screenshot it and send it to me for your assignment. All right, good job watching, guys. Have a good day.